I know I wrote a book, right? It's called Buy a Game and it's free. Click the link down there. You got it.
DreAllDay.com.
Good morning, everybody. Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. Today I want to talk about quality versus quantity. Often it's a question that people may come up with. They're doing something a lot. They think they want to put out, maybe you want to blog or write a book or maybe make YouTube videos, any type of media you want to put out. People often ask, is it quality or quantity? When people are going to the gym working on their game, should I do a whole lot of reps so I can get better at something, or should I make sure each rep is perfect and do fewer? Should I lift a whole lot of weights heavy or lift lighter weights and do a whole lot more? Which one is it? Which one is it, Dre? Quality or quantity? I'm here to settle this question for anyone who has this question very simply, and it's this. The answer is both. You need quality and quantity, because what we're talking about when we talk about quality and quantity, quality means how good you are at something. You need to be at a high level of skill. You need to be at a high level of competence. So shirking on quality is not going to work. Now, what about quantity? You need a lot of that too, because if you're really good at, let's say, making money, do you want to limit how much money you make? If you're really good at helping people, do you want to limit how many people you help? If you're really good at playing basketball, do you want to limit how often you play basketball so you can make sure you don't use up all of your game? Of course not. You want to do it as much as you possibly can. So let me explain to you in 3 simple tips what I mean when I say quality and quantity. You need both at the exact same time. Here's the number one thing. If you are really good at something, you're really well known. I just talked about this a second ago. Really good at what you do. You can produce results anytime you want to because you just have a high level of skill, high level of talent, high level of game, whatever you want to call it. You need to be doing that as much as possible so you can maximize the returns on your work. Doesn't that just make sense that you want to maximize returns? Like I just said, if you're great at making money, do you want to limit how much money you make? If you're great at creating new customers in your business, do you want to limit how many customers you have? If you're great at playing basketball, do you want to limit how many games you play in? Of course not. You want as many people to see you as possible. You want to make as much money as possible. You want to help as many people as possible so you can get more returns. That maximizes your returns. So doing things a lot when you're already good at it just makes sense. There's no reason for you to limit how much you're doing something if you're actually good at it. Now, are there nuances and exceptions? Yes, let's just say, for example, if you're great at working on your game in basketball, that doesn't mean you should just stay in the gym 24 hours a day and never eat or go to sleep or go to school. Well, of course not. So, of course, we understand that there are certain limits to it. But what I mean is the spirit of what I'm saying. That's what I want people to understand here, so nobody says anything stupid in the comments, is that when you're really good at something, you should be doing as much as you possibly can to maximize your return. Now, what about on the other side? What if you're not too good at something? What if you really don't have any skill? What if you really are just starting to work on your game? You don't really have the ability to make things happen yet. Maybe you can't even create a new customer. Maybe you're in a sales job and you do presentation after presentation, but you can't close the sale. What should you do? Should you limit? Should you lower your amount of quantity? Should you lower your quantity so you don't mess up so often? Should you not play in any games until you get your game into the right space? Should you not try out for? Players ask me, Dre, I'm going to try out for the D-League. Players say, I'm going to try out for the D-League in 3 years. I'm going to try out for the D-League not this summer, but next summer, because they feel like they got to get themselves better before they go and try something. That makes no sense whatsoever. That makes no sense. I don't understand how anyone could even think like that, but I'm going to help you get it right now. Here's the thing. If you're not good at something, you have no skill, you're not able to produce results at all, you need to be doing that thing in as many places as possible, as often as you possibly can, so you can develop some experience. You need to gain experience so you know what's going to happen in a live situation, and it's going to help you improve your skill. Because not only are you going to get better from doing it and messing it up, but you're also going to learn what doesn't work, so you can stop doing the things that don't work. Because if you're just doing it in theory, like, oh, I think this is going to work, or I think this is not going to work, and that's your only experience, is just what you read in a book or what you heard somebody talk about on YouTube or on a podcast, or somebody said at some conference that you went to, you're still never going to develop the skill. You only develop the skill from actually getting out there and doing it badly over and over and over and over again. So if you're, let's say, for example, you're an athlete. You want to try out for the D-League, but you think your game's not good enough yet, so you're not going to try out this summer. Listen, you need to try out this summer. I don't care if you suck, then listen, you're still going to suck no matter when you go. If you think a year of working on your game will get you in a better position, you need to do it right now. If you're terrible at it, okay, but at least you got the experience. So next year you kind of have an idea of how it goes. You know how it feels. It's not a brand new thing to you. You'll be more ready for it next year if you go this year than if you just skip this year, so you can be quote unquote ready next year. And the thing about sports especially is there's a shelf life. So you don't have forever to get ready. You need to do it right now. Who knows? You might go there and impress somebody. You might get yourself an opportunity that you didn't even think you could get because you didn't think you were quote unquote ready for it. You're ready as soon as you start. Okay, so you don't need to wait until you get good before you start doing something over and over. If you're terrible at sales, you got a sales job, are you going to turn down every possible person you can present your product or service to because you know you can't close them? Of course not. How are you going to get good at closing anybody if you don't try to make a sale? You got to keep doing it over and over and over again. Maybe you only close 1 out of 100. But as you get better, maybe then you'll start closing 3 out of 100, then 10 out of 100, then maybe 50 out of 100. Then maybe you close everybody you talk to. But you have to get out there and get the experience, get your feet wet, and get active in doing something in order to get better. So when you're not good at something, you need to be doing as much as possible so you can improve your skill level through experience and through active game now, quote unquote game knowledge. So the game can be a sales presentation. The game can be giving a speech. The game can be talking to a girl at the mall. The game can be you playing your actual sport. So I don't just necessarily mean a sport, but it can be any kind of game, any type of performance that you think you're not good at. And here's the third thing. People are listening to me right now. They're like, okay, so if you're good at something, you should do it a lot. And if you're not good at something, you should do it a lot too. But what about overexposure, Dre? What about just doing something so much that you run out of energy or you run out of time or people get tired of you? You're oversaturating the market with your product or your service or whatever it is you're doing, your ideas, whatever it is you're putting out there. Understand this. If you had to choose between the two of burning out and rusting out, which one would you rather do? Burning out being you did something so much that it just ran out. The spark went out, the fire went out, and the time is up, but you used it all. Or rust out, meaning you have it, it's sitting there, but it's not being used. The air, the oxidized metal causes it to rust out, therefore you can't use it at all, and it just falls to pieces from non-use. Which one would you rather have? Which problem would you rather have? Would you rather have a problem of rusting out, meaning that you didn't do it enough, it wasn't used, and it just died because it wasn't from non-use, from atrophy? It's like a muscle. If you don't lift weights, you got big muscles and you don't lift weights, the muscles just waste away. Or would you rather burn out, meaning you used your skill, you used your ability, you put your energy out there so often that you just ran out, the energy ran out, the time ran out. Maybe you ran out of money, maybe you ran out of people to talk to, maybe you ran out of products to sell. Maybe there's nobody else to play against in basketball. You just burned out. Michael Jordan, great example. He burned out in basketball. He retired in 1993 after he won 3 championships in a row. He said, there's nobody left for me to compete with. I didn't beat everybody who I was supposed to compete with. What reason do I have to keep playing? He burned out. He definitely didn't rust out. Then he won 3 more championships when he came back, burned out again. Then he decided to come back one more time. I don't know if you could, we can't say he rusted out. We got to say he squeezed every ounce he could get out of his talent. Kobe Bryant, another great example. Did he squeeze every ounce of his ability out of him? I think he did. He burned out. At the end of during his last season, he put that letter out to say, I just can't put my body through this anymore. What is that? That's not rusting out, like I'm tired from sitting here. He said, I burned out. I can't do it anymore. I've done it more than I can do it anymore. I burned out. Which one would you rather do, burn out or rust out? So let me recap the 3 points here about quality and quantity. Number 1, if you're really good at something, you need to do it as much as you possibly can to maximize the returns on it. Number 2, if you're not good at something, not yet that skilled, you're still working and getting better, you need to do it as much as possible so you can get better, so you can improve your skill through active action, not by watching, not by thinking, not by reading, not by YouTubing. And number 3, you're better off doing something as much as you possibly can and burning out because you did it so much than not doing something enough and rusting out because you wasted ability, you wasted time, you wasted opportunity sitting thinking about it, limiting yourself because you say, well, I got to make sure it's quality over quantity. Bullshit. You need quality and quantity. Winners in life, we don't choose either or. We choose both. You're not going to have cake and not eat it. You can't eat cake if you don't have it. You can't have quality and not quantity. You're not going to have quantity without quality. They go hand in hand. The more you do of either, the more you're going to get of the other. Any questions, comments, concerns, praise, criticisms, leave them down there in the comments. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com.